All right, look at example 3. We're adding fractions, so we need the least common denominator, right?
Yes.
So look at the first denominator. Can you factor this? Yes. Does it have a greatest common factor? No. How many terms? 3. Simple or alien? Simple. How do you know it's simple? Good. There's only a 1x squared. There's no other number in front of the x squared. All right. So remember, that means we're going to have our 2 sets of parentheses. All right. So remember, our first terms here have to multiply to give me that x squared, which are x and x. Good. And my last 2 terms here have to multiply to the last term, which is 6, and then read it backwards. Have to add to 5. So we're going to multiply to 6, add to 5.
Can we go ahead and drop that sign down?
You can if you want to. All right, so we got 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Now be careful. Which of those add to 6? 3 and 2. 6 and 1, I'm sorry. I submit add to 5.
But
3 and 2. 6 and 1 subtract to 5, okay? And a lot of people try to put the 6 and 1 up there because they're not paying attention. They just see, oh, it gives me 5. But they have to add to 5. It's very specific. Bigger number first. So you can bring down that first sign. And then you've got a positive 3 times what kind of 2 will give me that positive 6 there at the end?
positive 2.
Positive. Good. So it's a plus. Not an alien, so we're done factoring there. Let's do the same thing to the second one. Okay. Any greatest common factor? No. How many terms?
3.
Simple or alien?
Simple.
Simple. So just go into your 2 parentheses.
-7 positive.
Remember, your first terms have to multiply to be x squared, which are?
X and X.
And my last 2 numbers have to multiply to
14.
and subtract to 5.
7 times 2.
So we're going to multiply to 14, and we're going to subtract to 5. So 1 and 14, 2 and 7, and that's what y'all are saying it is?
Yes.
Okay, put the bigger number first. Bring down that first sign.
7.
So a negative 7 times what kind of 2 gives me a negative 14? Positive. Okay, negative times a positive is negative. All right, so I can't factor anything else there, so we're done factoring.
So those are the 2 new.
So I'm going to rewrite this. I have what, 2x over x plus 3x plus 2 plus 5 over x minus 7, x plus 2. All right, so let's go find that least common denominator.
X plus 3, X plus 2.
All right, so to get rid of that first fraction, we're going to multiply by x plus 3, x plus 2.
Second one, X minus 7.
The second fraction, we need to multiply by that x minus 7 and the x plus 2. Do I already have an x minus 7 written down?
No, just
So I need to write it. Do I already have an x plus 2 written down? Yes, so don't write it. So that up there then is my least common denominator. It's also what we're going to multiply by, right? All right, so remember for the first fraction, we're going to cancel out that x plus 3, x plus 2. So what's left?
X minus
X minus 7 times the 2x inside. I'm going to go and put the 2x first because it's by itself. Then it's plus Second fraction, we're going to cancel out the x minus 7 and the x plus 2. So we're left with an x plus 3 times the 5 inside. So I'm going to put the 5 first since it's by itself. Let's work in the numerator. What can we do?
Distribute.
Distribute what?
The 2x.
The 2x into its parentheses. So 2x times x is,
2x squared.
and 2x times negative 7 is,
Negative 14.
okay. And then distribute that positive 5 times x, which is
5x.
positive 5x. Guys, make sure you put the sign there. And then 5x times 3 is
15.
all over that least common denominator.
How do you not get tired of showing your work, especially when you do it like 8 times a day? I get tired of doing it once.
Okay, so what do we do now?
Add like terms.
Okay, combine like terms. So let's see. Let's start with our largest exponent. So I have 2x squared.
And there's nothing else.
There's no other x squares. See, we have negative 14x plus 5x, which is,
Negative 9x. And plus 15.
and then we have the plus 15.
Oh, shoot.
All over.
You didn't do it right. Yeah.
Our least common denominator.
Wow, I did 18 instead of 15.
All right.
You silly dude.
Can I do anything else in the numerator? Maybe. Is that an alien?
Yes.
Possibly, right? We've got to check. Sometimes it'll factor, sometimes it won't. We don't know unless we check. So I'm going to separate this little area here and work on that.
This.
So that's what? 2x squared, which I just wrote off the board there. So 2x squared minus 9x plus 15.
And AB.
So does it have a greatest common factor? No, we always need to check that though, because sometimes that'll make it a lot easier, right? All right, so the alien man goes on vacation, kisses his wife goodbye. He's gone. Because they're alien, she multiplies by him. Simple trinomial.
It would be.
I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 30 and
Subtract.
add
Add
to 9.
So they're both negative.
Well, I don't worry about that yet. So 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, 4, 5 times 6. Any of those add to 9?
No.
So this is just not factorable.
Do you have to write that? It's not factorable.
So I can't simplify that any further unless you just want to multiply out those denominators. So there's our answer.